Welcome to the show. We are tuned in for real life stories with real life people who have overcome adversity and healed their life. I am your host, Victoria Johnson, teacher trainer and coach trainer for the Heal Your Life certification program and best-selling author of Do That and Then Some: Transform Feelings of Less Than to More Than Enough. As Louise Hay always said, the point of power is in the present moment, so let's get started. Good morning, everyone, and happy Easter Sunday to you. And we've got the perfect topic for today, your spirituality, your way, which is a great thing to be talking about on Easter Sunday. And I appreciate you all being here. And I wanted to start off today with something really special, and that is that Rachel is going to lead us in a meditation to get us started. So, Rachel, you can go ahead and the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. So, I want you to take a big breath in. Gently release that breath in. Breathe in again. Scanning your body for tension. Release your breath into this tension and feel it lift away. Allow your thoughts, your appointments, and your plans all to lift away. Breathe in again, right to our bellies, and release all that needs to be thought about right now. This is your time. This is your space. Our breath draws us together energetically, creating a bigger force, a deeper connection, a more expansive, universal energy. This connection raises us together, creating an even higher vibration. Feel this vibration lift inside of our energy centers. From the tip of your tailbone, right up your spine, out through the top of our crown chakra, connecting us all universally, energetically, and spiritually. Breathe in, breathe out. Allow any sensations, feelings, or thoughts to guide you. Breathe in, breathe out. We are all connected. We are all one. Breathe in, breathe out. Surrender to your energy. Surrender to your light. For it is here you will find your infinite freedom and possibilities. Breathe in, breathe out. Our beautiful life can be lived in our own spiritual way. Breathe in, breathe out. And shared with the oneness that we all truly are. And so it is. please come back to the room in the way that honors you and your soul. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Oh, what a perfect way to start today and every day. We will be talking a little bit today about daily practices and what it is that we do throughout the day, throughout the days, the weeks, and so on to be feeding ourselves spiritually. And for me, one thing that I find works well for me is just mine is really simple. And I'm going to confess to you that I'm going to be looking for some ideas from you guys today to enrich my spiritual practice in the morning. Because right now I just do something really simple that is from Robin Sharma. He recommends 20 minutes of spiritual food. So sometimes that 20 minutes for me is YouTube, sometimes it's meditation, sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's writing, whatever that happens to be. And then 20 minutes of moving my body. And so that might just be some stretching or that kind of thing. And then 20 minutes of mindfully planning my day, so that my day is not taking over for me, right? It's just so that I'm doing what it is that I intended to do throughout the day. So we'll be talking a little bit later on the call about those daily practices. So if you can kind of think of some of the things you can do to share with the group, that would be amazing. And it'll be lovely to hear from everyone today. Being a smaller group, we can do that, which is great. So today's topic is your spiritual life, your way. And the reason that I chose that topic is because I'm going to just take you back to my childhood. And Easter Sunday was always really special because we very often got new spring dresses. So it was really nice. My mother was a minister, and so obviously we went to church every Sunday, and morning and night, and a couple times a week. And so when I was a young child, she wasn't a pastor, so I've got memories of being able to sit on the church bench with her, and Sunday evening services, laying down and having her touch my hair, while she was listening to the sermon and so on. And those memories of standing out in front of our house in those Easter dresses, and just really brings back those special memories. But another thing that it brings back for me is that feeling of not quite belonging. And from a very young age, I had that feeling that something just wasn't quite resonating with me, that wasn't quite right. And most of it felt really good, but some of it didn't feel right for me. Chris just sent me a note that we're getting some background music or some background noise. So if you can mute yourself if you are not speaking, that would be great. So as a young child, I had this feeling of not quite belonging. And then I tried, but secretly thought there was something wrong with me. And as a teenager, I went through those years where, it was either black or white. There was no in between. And so if I didn't feel like I belonged in the church, I made sure that I went to the extreme opposite. And I would go back and forth like a ping pong ball, right? So, I just, again, searching for that something. And when I was about 15 years old, I remember very specifically having a knowing. So even though I still really felt like I didn't fit in and I felt like an outsider and that there was something wrong with me, when I was about 15, I really remember having this knowing that I had a ministry, And it didn't make sense to me. My mother, she was a pastor at this time. And so, I was, she used to tell me that, part of being a leader, that I was such a strong leader. And it was such a good thing because when I was on board, everybody was on board, like all the young people in the church and the youth group and so on. But when I was out, they were out too, right? And so I just felt like this tremendous pressure. And again, I felt like I had this ministry, but I knew that it wasn't with the church and that it didn't quite fit yet. And I didn't know how to put it in words. I mean, I was 15 years old, right? And so I decided to completely give up on spirituality, period. The end, done. And I lived that way till I was probably in my mid-30s, so 20 years. And in my mid-30s, I felt the need again for something more and for searching for what made sense to me. And I was fortunate enough to have some really great teachers who taught me the beautiful blend between what I was raised with and all of the wonderful things about traditional religion or Christianity or spirituality that way, as well as my own things. And at the time I was working in massage and doing massage, and I remember talking to my mom about it and saying, every time I touch someone, I'm making sure that I am sending them blessings and praying for them and just sending them all the love I can through my hands, right? And then as I began to teach this work, back in 2012, when I became a Heal Your Life teacher and coach, then that was another way for me to have this ministry. And I think, it's really been the last couple of years that I've recognized that this really is what I was called to do way back when I was, 15 years old and really felt the pull that I needed to do something really close to my heart and really meaningful. And so all of those feelings of not being good enough and not fitting in went away. And so now, thankfully, I'm still developing that spiritual practice, and it's not finished yet, and I hope it's never finished. But I'm looking forward to learning today from all of you, and learning about your spiritual practice, learning about your daily routines and what it is that you do, because I think that it's going to really enrich my life. So today I am the student, and I look forward to hearing from each of you teachers, and I thank you again for being here. So on that note, I don't see Cathy on the screen. Cathy, if you're there by phone or something, can you let me know? Cathy was going to get us started and share her spiritual journey, but she must have got another obligation this morning or someplace she needed to be. So I'm just going to open the floor up to whoever wants to share about what spirituality, your way, means to you and about your daily practice.
I can go if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead, Michele.
So I grew up without religion, or even, I suppose there was some spirituality. My mom was a single mom, starting when I was 18 months old. She raised 6 of us on her own. And so she was Catholic before that. And so after my parents divorced, it was basically like, there was nothing, we just were survival mode. But I never believed in God. I never had a desire to believe in God. And it wasn't until my divorce at 35 that I started meditating. And meditation, as I kept meditating, within like 3 months, I had a spiritual awakening. And what changed in me in that moment was that was very real for me. Like I had to find my own version of God. Like I went from not believing in God into knowing God, like knowing to my core. Like nobody can tell me that we die, we're dead. I know with all my heart that we go on, we're infinite beings. But it was a huge shift because I didn't believe any of that. Like people, talk about God, and then I would change it to the universe or, spirit. But, God to me was like a bad word. So what's really shifted in me, though, meditation is what shifted in me. And and I just want to also share my daily practice, what I've been doing lately, which has been really powerful, because after all that's happened with this, and I calling my mom and I'm upset about, life and everything. And she's like, remember the positive aspects of your life, all the positive things. So every morning now I wake up and I write down a sheet of all the positive aspects in my life. And then I write another page of a scenario that I want to manifest in my life, because I teach law of attraction, so that's my passion. But just writing that gets me feeling so excited about what is possible and loving. And of course, I believe in all this stuff, right? And then I go meditate. And when I meditate, I ask for spirit's guidance and help. So I've been doing that every morning, only for the last week, but I'm telling you, it's been amazing, because I was really depressed, like a lot of us, from even like 3 weeks ago, like could barely get myself off the couch. And now, like, I feel like I'm alive again. And so spirituality to me is my life force, and doing something every day, which I get kind of lazy sometimes. I just, I won't meditate today or whatever. But now, like, doing it every day, I've noticed my energy, my positivity, everything's gone up. So to me, a daily practice is huge. Maybe we don't have to be perfect, but that takes, 20, 30 minutes for me to do that every morning. And it's just been fantastic.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I'm making some notes here, and I'll send out in the email when I send the recording, I'll send out a bit of a summary of the things that we were talking about. And what I really liked about what you said is doing the writing first and then the meditation, because I always think, I don't know why, I've always thought you needed to meditate first and then do the writing, but I like that it's opening up those channels. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I used to look at my phone first thing and look at Facebook. Now I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, I grab my journal, which is right by my bed. In my bed, I'm hardly awake, which is when all the good stuff comes up, I think, when we're kind of in that half awake state. Mm-hmm. And so it's been really, really great. Yeah.
Awesome. Who else would like to share?
I'll go.
Okay, Flavio.
So back in the old country, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school. Although I received quite a few mixed messages, my father didn't believe in that, but yet my brother and I were in that environment. So I became very confused and left it at that. And then we came to Canada, and again was put in Catholic school. I was a little older. Back in the old country, it was just a boys' school. Here we're mixed with the girls. But lo and behold, the sisters, they were making sure that us boys not look at the girls or think of the girls, or more mixed messages, for sure, for me anyway, through high school. And that made it difficult for me to believe in that type of God. And so I left all that, and I didn't have anything for, I don't know, the calorie training. And then, later in life, I discovered something about myself that had me believing in the negative aspects of that religion. The judgment and all that. And so I thought, that just caused more fear. And I thought, I have to change that, because I don't know, there's got to be something else. And so slowly I started getting information that's been working for me. And so what I ended up doing, I had to release that Catholic thing with much love, of course, but it's gone down the road. But for that, I had to read enormous amounts of books. I've never read so much in my life. I never had any use for books until recently. And so now, of course, I believe in myself, my inner strength, my power, and I've been able to see the God concept as a process more than as a person. So a process definitely cannot judge or condemn or be happy or not be happy, as opposed to the personality which has been assigned to some gods. And that is working for me, very much so. As far as my daily routine, I concentrate on being thankful for the things that I do have, whether it's my health or the amount of money that I have, my job, which is paying off big time right now, and my home, and my new concept of God for myself, so that I can keep growing in the direction that I needed to support me and my life.
Thank you, Flavio. I've never heard that before. I made sure to write it down. God is a process, not a person.
It was not something I can discuss with everyone, or I had the opportunity to discuss it with, because, well, I don't want to hurt anyone or, come across as confrontational. Some folks are very protective of their beliefs, and I understand that.
That's what makes you such a beautiful person, Flavio. Thank you. So, what you're saying about God as a process, not a person, I like that because it applies, we often talk about the universe or source energy or spirit, higher power. And you said my inner power,
Right.
which I really liked. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Who would like to go next? Annette.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
Okay. I love this topic. I do quite a few things every morning, and for many years now. I think a deep connection that brought me to my God consciousness was getting into recovery and 12-step recovery. My story matched a lot of yours, Victoria, when you were sharing when you were 15 and, just those different thoughts. I was like, yes, that's ditto. So over the years, I've come to understand more about loving myself and finding my own connection with my God, a God of my understanding. And through the 12-step process, it took me on that journey, and I stayed committed to it. And I'm so grateful for that. So every day, I get up. I also learned to love myself as an Indigenous woman person, healed a lot of that pain and past trauma. And so I do practice my smudge bowl every day. And I was actually given some traditional tobacco lately. So now when I do my smudge daily, I pray for that family and that whole connection that brought me that tobacco. So it's in there every day for them. So I do that. My husband and I, we share our morning ritual. We do 3 readings. We do one from the 12-step. We do one from Louise Hay. And then we do another one, 5 Love Languages. We read one of that to focus on healing our marriage and staying committed to that healing. And then we do a card, pick a card for the day. And I've been a journaler. I've started journaling in 1996 every day. I journal every day. And there I let out all those feelings and those repetitive thoughts. And then I end with gratitude all the time. Get the ugly out, negative out, and then journal gratitude at the end. And that's my practice. And honestly, I bet you I'm 98%. I do that every day. And then I tap into Deepak and Oprah. I love their meditation. So I'm learning to meditate now. And so I love spirit. For me, it's all spiritual. And I've done I'm just happy that I can connect with. And now it's come to what this man, I don't know this man, Flavio, it's come now, and in this experience in this last month, it's come down to me and my God of understanding. So that's a really beautiful, neat thing, that journey I'm on. So we'll see where that takes me. So thank you for hosting this, and bless you for sharing your love, Victoria.
Thank you. Thank you. I have so much admiration for you, the consistency with which we do things and create these habits and rituals is something that I strive to implement more into my life, and to be more consistent at being consistent. Did I just say that? But that's exactly what I mean. And so I thank you for sharing. Alrighty, who would like to go next? Sarah.
Thank you. Sorry, Heik. I want to start from when my spirituality started, because it's been maybe several days that I realized that. Last week I said my spirituality started while I found Louis' book in the bookshelves. But now I realized that it started since the day that my dad passed away. And I realized that since the time I started looking for him in streets, behind the window, in the birds, or any people passing next to me, it was like the beginning of spirituality in me, that I unconsciously was looking for the signs that spirit is talking with me, but I didn't know anything about it. And during these days, by reading the books, by going more into my inner child and listening to it, I realized that, oh my God, it's more than, when was it? I'm 30 now, so 20 years, around 20 years that I've started that. I didn't know anything about it. And I grown up in a Muslim family, and my mom and dad, they were both positive people. My dad not really into the religion, but my mom was. But after he passed away, my mom started going to spirituality and reading the books, and she was always positive in my life. And she was one of the people who made me go through this way, I think. And I wanted to say that she always told me, if your dad left us and you didn't have the main love of your life, because I loved him a lot. He was the main person in my life. And if he left your life a bigger power, a more powerful energy or something, as God is more highlighting your life. So try to ask for anything you want from him. And it was the time that I started knowing more about the God that in the past my religion was telling me that you have to be afraid of, because just one thing that you have to be afraid of is the God. But when I went through my path, I realized that the only one that I need to love and receive the love, and there is no fear from, that is the God that I have in my life. And so it's been 20 years that my spirituality path has started, and maybe I can talk about the meditations or whatever has helped me during these days in the ashram that I am, that helped me to realize that, is I write my dreams every morning that I wake up, because I believe they are talking with me in another aspect of my life, that during the day I don't realize that, but when I fall asleep, they start talking with me more. So I write my dreams, I journal whatever happens during the day, and I don't give a routine to my everyday. I listen to my intuitions in the morning or at night. Whatever you want to do, do that. You want to do meditation, you want to do yoga, you just want to listen to the birds, listen to your inner child. Whatever you feel is the best today is just go for that. And yes, life is so beautiful, and I'm really grateful for every second that I'm going through.
Oh, that is so beautiful, and your joy shines through. And I'm really glad that you made that distinction as well, that, sometimes we were taught that God was something to fear. And that's, a lot how I was raised too. God is love, but you better be careful because God's watching, and, he's keeping a list, and he's judging, and so on. And so it's great that we can choose to keep what we want to keep from our religions and Christianity or Muslim or whatever it is, but we can also add our own spiritual flavor to it. Cathy is with us now. So Heike, before I get to you, I'm going to go to Cathy because she has prepared something to share with us this morning. Good morning, Cathy.
Good morning. How are you? Happy Easter.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. So I just wanted to tell a quick little story about my healing journey. It started, I guess, my whole life, obviously, but a couple of years ago, I came to a really big crossroad in my life. I'd spent my whole life kind of putting my joy and my happiness in the hands of anybody else, really. Like, my job needed to be, people needed to talk to me nicely. I needed to react nicely before I could really love myself. And I guess a couple of years ago with the Heal Your Life training, I had thought up to that point that I had healed tremendously, and I just didn't realize that I wasn't loving myself fully and completely, as fully as I could. So I took some steps. They were major leaps of faith. I quit my full-time job that I'd had. I was very, very lucky my whole life, really. I met my partner. I manifested before I knew what manifesting was, the type of life I wanted, the type of partner I wanted, and I have that now. The key is just to remember that and to be grateful for it. So I took a leap of faith and left this really cush job in administration in a First Nation community that had allowed me to have access to tons of different types of therapies. So I got to dabble with emotional freedom technique, just all Reiki, all of these different modalities. But what I wasn't doing was putting them in place. I was spending so much time looking outward when really what I needed to be doing to get where I need to be, to connect to my soul, love myself, to go inward. And I couldn't do that while I was surrounding myself in my normal everyday life. So I left my job. I took a leap of faith and left the job. I knew in my soul it was dragging me down for a couple of years. I just had lessons I had to learn from that. And I've made healing my soul purpose basically for the last couple of years. And so what that looks like is that I follow what I'm guided to do, and I take time every day to connect to my true authentic self and to my soul and to the higher power. So every day in little bits, whether it's connecting outside, I say prayers a lot. I have the prayer of St. Francis up, and I try to remember every day to affirm that life supports me in everything I do. I use the affirmations daily, and what we've recently started to do again with my kids is to look ourselves. We did mirror work as our homeschool curriculum last week, because I don't think they've ever looked in their eyes and said, I love you, I really love you. And I have a daughter who's 13 and a son who's 9, and I've only been what I would consider a true, authentic parent. I've only been parenting that way for maybe a year, and I make mistakes. But I apologize for them. I think that if you follow your heart, you know what's best for you. If something doesn't feel right, then take a breath and think, what is this? What is it doing? What can I change, right? We can always change our thoughts. If nothing else, we can change our thoughts. And so one thing that we've been trying to do, my children and I, is to send love out to the whole world right now. We're sending love not only for the planet, which is getting a lot of love because everybody's staying home and there's, things are clear enough, but we send love to every single human in it, that they can open their heart and love themselves. Because if everybody truly loved themselves, regardless of how we grew up, the abuses, the traumas, the belief systems, if we all truly loved ourselves, then we would have nothing but love for every other living thing too as well. So that's what we're trying to do. And I realize I don't have to do the things that I do within my own household and my own energy that I send out for me, they're huge. That's what I'm getting to now. That's what I'm really realizing. I used to think that it would have to be this grand gesture, but now I know that if I shine my heart, my love, my soul, this pureness out to the world, it does make an impact. It impacts everything around me, which, it grows.
That is so beautiful, Cathy. And I love what you said about parenting and to apologize when we make a mistake. And that is so powerful. And just they're such lucky kids to be raised by a mom who is on her own spiritual quest and looking deep inside yourself and teaching the mirror work and so on. And what we put out there when we're raising our kids definitely stays with them. I'm thinking of when I was a child, there was a scripture, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they won't depart from it. And, I remember that scripture from my childhood. And when I think now, I'm 53 years old, and I just said what I said, right? Because it stays with us. And all of those things that you're teaching them will stay with them as life skills for the rest of their lives. And that's powerful. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Thank you, Cathy. Thank you so much. Heike, I think you wanted to go next.
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up in Berlin, as I mentioned, and I was sent to church. And I think it's kind of the same mixed messages as FLAVIO kind of mentioned earlier. I got sent to church, but my mom never went. But it seemed like that is the right thing to do for kids. So I was sitting there, and looking back, I've realized that I sat there and I sensed that something is authentic in there. And then on the other hand, there's something really wrong there. And I passed, and I got the confirmation, and then I had the free choice if I want to continue going or not. And I'm grateful that I had a free choice there, and I decided not to. In the end, I felt that I don't need to go to church. I felt still that connection. And then, growing up with parents that had a lot of hurt because they were war children, and then an abuse situation within the family with that weird German belief system, I had always these eyes that I saw things where I thought, why is that like that? Why are they so tense? Or why do they put all these rules here in this house and this family? Why don't they show the love like we should? I felt I'm in the wrong space. And then I started dreaming about Canada when I learned that I had an uncle there, and I kept saying that I want to go to Canada. And I already started reaffirming things without knowing about affirmations yet. But I kept saying it, and truly all of a sudden, all the stars lined up. And I met a Persian husband. I had my Persian husband, Sarah, there's our connection. And he kind of helped me out. He realized that I have to bring up that abuse situation and start healing. He helped me for that. He helped me to get to Canada. And unfortunately, then the message was over and that marriage fell apart. But that's how I came across Louise Hay. Helped me out of that. I started discovering my own power then. And realizing, and then heavily into affirmations. And although I'm a little bit like Sarah as well, I'm not having a daily firm routine, but gratitude. I have to mention too, I then, when I was in Canada, I got into a relationship of a really weird personality, and I was like a flower that kind of was wilting there because he was so successful and it was all about him. And I started, being on that spiritual journey, discovering more, and he poo-pooed it, and I'm like, yeah. So anyways, now I see I had to have him. I had to break loose out of it. Then I kind of hit rock bottom. Here I was, all of a sudden didn't know financially where everything is going. And then I had to sit down and really think, what do I want in life? And I had so little at that time. I was a couch surfer for a while. Some friends took me in until, it was just me and my dog. I had to find a place to live, and I had to be able to afford it. And then I sat down and wrote my list, my wish list. And then for me, it was not God, it was the universe. And all of a sudden I got those messages and things started lining up. And that was such a good feeling. And since then, I went to card readers. And then I called it not God. I discovered angels. I love my angels. I have my Archangel Michael and Gabriel, and I have all my angels, and I address them a lot. And I had really, really positive, fun things where I learned that it works. They gave me hints, and discovering that and placing orders it is a lot of fun. And now with my hypnosis therapy, learning that I can actually help someone too, or like, kind of channel some energy. That is such a interesting journey. And yeah, so I'm still on the journey.
I really appreciate, again, what you've shared about the angels and archangels, because that's another way to really honor spirit, isn't it?
Yes, I love
it. Thank you. Thank you. Maureen, I saw you put your hand up. Thank you, Heike.
Hi there. I love what FLAVIO said. Is that correct pronunciation?
Yes.
I've been on a spiritual path. I've come to realize all my life. And I did go to church with my parents, and I loved the spirit that I felt in church. I knew that there was very good stuff in church. However, as I became older and started to read the Bible and started to read other books, I went, my goodness, they're not telling me the whole truth here. And all of my life, I've looked for truth. I've looked for real. I've looked for what is truly there in front of me. And I loved what FLAVIO said was the new concept of God. And that's something that I have truly embraced in this last year, because I believe that there's spirit and energy and strength in that. And I believe that there's God or a power in the universe. And I love what he said, because I've now come to realize that I have a whole new concept of God and what that means to me and how it's part of me. And I appreciate learning that. So my routine every day is just to get up, and if I'd say 90% of the time I get up and do some exercise, movement, meditation. And something I've chosen to not do is listen to a lot of news, because it does cause fear and anxiety within me. And because I had a near-death experience, so I've been on the other side, and let me tell you, it's not scary. It's something that we grow and desire and become part of. It's a beautiful spiritual place to be, where there's no pain, there's no fear, you don't miss anybody. It's a beautiful place to be. So I have no fear. I have no fear of what's going on around me. I truly believe that what's meant to come of this is going to be something miraculous and beautiful, and our new normal will be beautiful. And I don't want to go back to normal. As you were saying, Cathy, our earth is healing. I want to see that continue to happen. I love that. So each day when I do feel, and I feel those feelings around me, there's days I wake up feeling angry. I'm going, well, what am I angry about? Oh, just a minute. That's not my anger. Are there, I feel things, and I have to differentiate between, is it me? Is it others? Is it what I'm feeling in the earth today? And just put out that love and belief that we're here for a reason. We're here to learn. We're here to become better within all of this, to stop, take the time, center, meditate, and be in those moments of appreciation and gratitude, and disperse and dispense that fear, and help and support those around you. What came to me today was, there's a little elderly lady down the walk who, blocked from me, who's always been a beautiful soul in my life. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've forgotten about her. So I felt that I need to go down there and just drop a little card off and just say, Happy Easter. Let me know if you need anything, and, give her my phone number again and let her know that I'm here for her, just to help, to serve. I love to serve. So, yeah.
Thank you, Maureen. And what a great inspiration, those little things that we can do to make a difference, right? Wouldn't that feel so good, just to get a little card in your mailbox, or just that note that someone is sending you, if it's an email or whatever, just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you, I care about you, and I'm here for you. So beautiful. And thank you for your reminder of service, Maureen. Who would like to go next? Priya. I can't hear you, Priya. I just need you to unmute. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, thank you. And so I didn't talk for long because I didn't know where to begin. And my story so resonated with Sarah's. And so I'm not going to repeat all that happened about my dad. And I actually got till then I never believed that, I need to go to the temple. Is there a God and spirit? And I was far away from all that. I'm an engineer, electronic engineer, and an MBA. And I was in the corporate world and being successful, blah, blah. And then I got eventually married, had 2 children. And till the time I discovered that both the children were learning disabled, and they needed different kind of care. And then I was totally involved in them. So I left my career and learned about learning disabilities and remediated them myself. And that was a wonderful, wonderful journey, though very overwhelming at that time. But it has been 18 long years that I did that. And my daughter is a successful lawyer and she could overcome it. She's a scholar also. She got many scholarships. So is my son, studying in IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, which is a very prestigious place to be in for engineering. And both of them have very wonderfully managed their way. But in the process, I kept on asking, like, why me? And in that process, somewhere everything collapsed, my marriage collapsed, my finances went for a toss, my success, relationship, everything went for a toss. And eventually someone came in my life, but that also didn't work. And here I was finally facing a depression. And that was just for a short time. And for me to realize that, that was not my path to be on. And I had to come on this side to understand what is life all about. And it's understand this engineering. And Louise came into my life, and I managed to heal myself just in a short span of 3 months. I could stop all my medication and come back to life. But, I realized that I was always doing the mirror work that she says from my childhood. And I would always say, hey, Priya, you are going to be the topper, the university topper, going to the mirror every single day while I was a student. And it always worked. And it was only the time when I stopped connecting with myself that life collapsed. And it was a big understanding for me. And my mother would always tell me that, Hakuna Matata. So whatever happens, just be happy. That's your work, And today I'm learning a course in miracles, which also tells me that your role is to be happy. God wants you to be happy. And then I said, being a science student, that it was amazing for me to relate Einstein's law, E is equal to mc squared, and that means energy is equal to mass into the speed of light squared. And so then I started studying at metaphysics. They teach different things, but here it's directly physics. And I'm like, oh, at unit mass, energy that is within me is that speed of light. And so that is the speed of light. So if I lighten myself to that extent and become the heaviness goes down to that extent, then I can attain the speed of light. And that is the spirit in me. And I started connecting everything. And I said, oh, I would like to call it the energy. And then God is everywhere. So my energy is everywhere. And so then I understood that mass that I'm talking about, it is in living as well as non-living things, and then the total mass on the earth remains the same. Then I heard Dr. Wayne Dyer telling the same, and I'm like, oh, energy can never be destroyed, so there is no death. It can only be transformed. And so I linked it to Dr. Wayne Dyer's teachings that my form changes from childhood to now. So I don't even call it a spiritual journey, but I feel that the spirit that I am is on a path, and the body that I am is trying to catch up and match the speed, of the spirit's journey. And it is that journey that is there. So I feel so much death is happening around us, but that's no death. And they're changing forms and they're transforming. And let's not mourn, but let's just see what's happening in this beautiful world. And so it's better than the fear that is faced, So every day for my spiritual practice, now I ask, how are you feeling, Priya? And if I'm feeling anything less than happy, then I just correct the thoughts. And like Louise says, maybe have an image of a yellow flowers or whatever it is. Then I run to the mirror. Okay, I almost run to the mirror and I say, hi, I'm there for you. And anytime there is anything overwhelming happening in my life, I just hold myself and I say, only good comes out of the situation. And I thank myself for creating another contrast, because I'm thanking, saying that it's creating clarity in my life. I'm getting more clear. And the spirit that I am has to learn something over here, but just send love no matter what, because I am love. And so I love having angels and fairies, and I love that world, and I choose to be in that world now.
Yes.
And it's just satisfying. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Of course, my marriage has come back. My husband is back with me, and we are all living together anyways. Eventually, that also happened.
Everything is always working out for your highest good.
And I'm on the journey, so open for totality of possibilities now.
Yes. So beautiful. I remember one of the things that Dr. Wayne Dyer used to quote, one of the sayings he used to like to quote, it was that we are not physical beings having a spiritual experience, but we're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Very much.
Yes. So when we shift that thinking, it really makes a difference, especially in light of what's going on right now. Just remembering that at the forefront, then there's no room for anything else. There's no room for fear. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. Who else would like to share? All right, I'm going to do last call on sharing. Okay, so I have something that I would like to close. Oh, sorry.
I was trying to unmute it. I'm sorry.
Oh, Daisha, wonderful.
Thank you. I just wanted to share that I agree with pretty much a lot of everything that everybody said, because I think that God, universe, source energy, to me, it's all the same, and it's all within me and each of us and everything. And I think that right now, since we are, in my belief, all eternal souls learning, that right now, like we were saying, we don't need to be afraid. There's a higher intelligence, and we're all learning. And then I just wanted to share that since a lot of people who have been interested in Christianity or were raised with Christianity and Catholicism, one person who I like to listen to for spiritual food, I think you said it was called, Victoria, is Rev Ike on YouTube, Rev Ike Legacy. He has a really good perspective on teachings of the Bible, but in ways that I think a lot of us would take to heart and understand. So that's my advice, and I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
And I don't think we have much more time, so I'll just keep it at that.
Daisha, thank you so much. I really look forward to checking that out. Rev Ike Legacy?
Legacy, yes, that's the YouTube channel.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for sharing. Is there anyone else who wanted to share? Okay. So one thing that really stood out to me today with everyone sharing, and those of you who didn't share, I believe you're feeling the same things that we're feeling. And but as part of our path in this life, when I was going through all of that, and when I was in that real searching stage, and when I say searching, like it was just that feeling of just not belonging. And, I was adopted, and I figured, well, you know what, it must just be in my DNA that this just is not my fit and so on. But I listened to you guys talk, and I find out that I'm not alone, right? I'm not alone. You guys felt the same thing. And I find that with everything that we go through in life, we're not alone. And to remember that whatever it is you're going through, whether, you're having challenges in your relationship or challenges in your health or whatever it might be, that you are not alone. There are other people feeling what you're feeling. And that, we're all in this together. We're all pulling for each other. We're all connected to that. Here's some of the names you used today: the higher intelligence, the power of the universe, my inner power, energy, God, spirit, source, universe. All of those things we are all connected to. And before I do a little closing reading, I just wanted to share that yesterday I was spending some time in meditation, and the word that came to me was sanctuary. And I believe that we are all in a period of sanctuary right now. And doesn't that feel good? Right? I got an email this morning from someone who said they were in lockdown, and we talked about this last week, lockdown or isolation, and how the power of our words. And some of you had shared the different things that you were saying, and I was sharing that I was choosing to use the word choose. But now I'm thinking sanctuary. We're all in this space of sanctuary, and we can just appreciate the goodness that's coming with us, knowing that we're all safe and divinely guided and divinely protected, and that everything is truly working out for our highest good. And I just want to say too, I loved what Priya shared about practically running to the mirror. We use the term mirror work, and that just sounds hard. Mirror work, right? But to put the joy behind it, to the practically running to the mirror, and just saying, hey, I got your back, right? Everything's going to be all right. Everything's working out for us. And I really appreciate your sharing of that. So thank you. So I encourage you this week to run to the mirror, to put some joy in the daily rituals that you have. And I wanted to share one of my favorite readings for probably 20 years now. It's a classic, and I know you've all heard it, but I thought it was so relevant to what we were talking about today. And it is from A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and it is called Our Deepest Fear. And so I just want you to listen to the words. You can close your eyes if you want to, or keep them open, but here we go. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And so it is. As you go through your week this week, I encourage you to just be in that space of joy, that light, that beautiful creative energy that you are, knowing that your spirituality shines out from you and helps to heal the planet and helps to heal the world, the people from heart to heart. The ripple effect is tremendous. I appreciate you being here. You may have noticed that I have extended the date. I added on another 3 weeks, and I'll probably add on another 3 weeks after that. Loosely, our topic next week is going to be about our emotional health and some of those, working through some negative beliefs. And so I look forward to seeing those of you who could make it for next week. And I thank you all for being here. This is exactly what I needed today, and you've given that to me, and I thank you. And I will see you again next week.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. If you would like to become an internationally certified Heal Your Life teacher and coach, please visit thetraining.ca. To be a guest on the show and share your story, please visit victoriajohnson.org. Thank you so much for joining us.